So I bought a heater for the cabin, or I bought a temperature gauge for the cabin, and right here at the top of this scaffolding level here, which is right about my head level, is 52 degrees right now, and the temperature's coming up. I haven't heated this since last weekend, and upstairs is already up to 55, but that humidity's pretty high. We got to see what we can do about drying out the inside of this cabin. Right now I'm working on vapor barrier, but mainly what I'm trying to do is get that last collar tie in up top there. And that's just so that when I run the wood stripping that I'm planning on across the top of the ceiling here, it has something to nail off to on the very end. So that's why I'm worried about having that here. I already have that in on this end. I installed that before we did the vapor barrier here. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. I've got both heaters going on. I kind of want to burn them out of propane today and see how warm I can get the inside of this place, mainly because I want to run to town tomorrow morning, first thing, and refill both tanks so I have full propane. I thought about spending the weekend in here. But I'm not ready. I need to have the vapor barrier done, and I need to take some measurements for the bathroom and the pantry and pick up those 2x4s, which I would also like to do tomorrow morning if I possibly can. To get that all framed out, but we're getting close. We're getting so very close to being in this thing. It is awesome. Very, very cool. All right, I'm going to play around with this and get some of this stuff done right now. The bottom is the inside temperature of the cabin, or of the trailer, and the top is the inside temperature of the cabin. So we're going to head out there and fire up the heaters. It's 6:45 on Saturday morning. Oh, had a little snow last night. A dusting of. Oh. So this heater's kind of a pain in the neck to start, but this one's pretty easy. My buddy heater. Whoops. Dropped my light. I always turn the valve off to shut the heater down. And then with this one, push down here, and then it's got an electric start right there. All right, we're going to fire up the other heater now, too. This is my routine for what I got to go through to even get started during the day. Like I said, this one's kind of a pain in the neck. Okay, that one's going now, too. This is how dark it is in here without any lighting. I did clean that window yesterday. There's a lot of moisture in here. And I cleaned one of the windows upstairs yesterday as well. The one on the right, I'm going to get the one on the left today once I warm everything up and get busy in here. All right. Our actual outside temperature is 28 degrees and indoors got 17% humidity. That just goes to show that literally there is nothing but vapor in the air here. That this trailer doesn't hold anything. I'm going to fix some breakfast. So it's 8:36 in the morning now on Saturday, and it's roughly almost 60 degrees in the cabin. 62 degrees inside the trailer here. So just after about an hour and a half, the cabin is as warm as, or almost as warm as the trailer. I love it. Just about time to get out there and get to work. Almost missed this, but I caught it yesterday. I don't know if you can see it here. Right on the tip of my finger up above there is a screw that I put in when I was massaging the window in and out. I need to get that out of there before I finish sealing all this up. Also, I did do that last collar tie. It's not really a collar tie. All it is for nailing it off. I measured that out and got that taken care of. And I'm going to run tape on this seam right here all the way down. I've got a pretty tight seam there. Hopefully that'll be more than enough to hold it. I know there are a million other ways and things that I'm supposed to do while I'm doing this, but I've never done this before. And I'm pretty satisfied with how this is turning out. So that's the way I'm going to keep doing it. So at one point here today, I had the temperature upstairs to about 78 degrees with both heaters running. And I made no secret about the fact that when I was building this, there was a lot of moisture, right? So before I got the roof on, it rained inside, it snowed inside, it did everything. And with all this heat now, I'm starting to see some bleed through from the walls of moisture. And I've got vapor barrier up from here up through the ceiling. I'm not seeing any moisture accumulation up there at all. So I'm gonna run heaters all week in here. And that also part of this was because all of this stuff here was against the walls here. So I've removed everything from the walls. I'm going to keep the heaters running in here 24/7, see if we can't dry this out over the next couple of days, so that I can finish that last strip of vapor barrier on the walls and have this place 100% closed in. I got to imagine a lot of this is because of, well, just what I said. I had all the rain and snow in before I had that roof on, but again, nothing, no moisture whatsoever up on top, which is super, super awesome. Ooh. This sleeping bag, I bought it before I moved up here. I used to camp with it all the time. It's good to 30 below zero. That's the advertised rating. And they're not lying. It's just amazing how nice this is. So this usually sits right on top of my bed, and then I have a blanket on top of that. I might stretch the futon out later on this evening. But I've got myself pretty much set up. I've got a couple of other things. Oh, I brought this down. Quick and easy night light for when I need it. Got a couple more things I want to bring in here. Let me show you what I got set up over here real quick first. So this is my camp stove that I had set up right over here on this table, actually. As I was cutting down all the trees and starting the project. Pretty awesome. Tea kettle from inside, a bunch of bottles of water, a bunch of extra teas, which reminds me I'm going to need my teacup and my coffee cup. Got my French press, got my coffee grinder, got my coffee beans, got a couple of propane bottles because they were cheaper to buy 2 at a time. And then I also have both of my oil lamps in here for tonight as well, because I'm not going to run the generator at all for lighting or power. Not for the first night in the cabin, that's for sure. Oh, goodness gracious. Spent last night in the cabin, so it was the first night in the actual building itself, and I slept so good. I am so relaxed right now, it's crazy. But I find it ironic because, you know, how life works, right? So last year, or was it last year? No, it was a couple of years ago when I first started cutting trees down on the property, and spent my first night in the tent. There were some things that I realized I didn't need, or that I needed that I didn't have, which is what the situation is now. So I'm headed into town to alleviate that, get that taken care of. And as I was driving to town, it was all foggy and misty, and this was a summer day. You know, like, well, summer, it was mid-May. And, you know, it was just gloomy as I was heading in the morning. So let me show you what we have today, if you can't already tell looking out the side windows. Ironically, we have almost the same weather today. It's almost as if, you know, Alaska says, Sean, you know the rules. Let's take care of this. Let's do this. Even on a foggy day like that, or like this, with a temperature of 22 degrees Fahrenheit, it's a wonderful, beautiful day in Alaska. Headed to town to pick up some propane. I got to stop off at the dumps, drop off some garbage there as well, and then maybe swing by a thrift store or two and see if I can't find a couple of stands that I can set my kerosene lamps on. I don't like setting them on the floor. And slowly but surely, we shall get that cabin livable. I'm not moving into it yet. I just wanted to spend a couple of nights in it to get a feel for what I would need. Not because I've put so much of my dreams and time and effort into it that I really wanted to sleep in it. Need to pick up something for dinner tonight too. I think we need a celebration dinner. Last night it was the first night in the cabin, and I was planning all this fancy dinner and everything, and I said forget that. First night in the cabin, let's get the bugs out. It's Friday. I'm headed to town. Got some work to do in the cabin when we get back today. I'm going to fire up the generator and have some electrical light in there, just so I could work on hanging more of the vapor barrier. I want to have all that done by the end of this weekend. Once the vapor barrier is done, I got a couple of walls to throw up underneath the loft. I've got a staircase to build to go up to the loft. I got a lot to keep me busy. So last night I slept in the cabin for the first night ever, and the sleep that I got was just incredible. But there was a couple of things that would make this a whole lot easier, and I'm not quite ready to move into it yet because I have some other stuff I have to do. So that's for dinner tonight, and that's coffee beans for tomorrow. What I could really use is like a coffee table that I could put the kerosene lamps on in the evening. Right now I'm running the generator and I'm topping off some electrical, and I wanted some lighting in here. But I drove all over Soldotna and Kenai today and hit every thrift store there was, and I couldn't find a coffee table to save my life. I mean, it was ridiculous. Normally they're just loaded, but for whatever reason nobody's got any right now. The other thing is I've got this ring light that runs off of one of those battery packs. I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. I've got an inverter here that I use in the house, and this is a 400 watt pure sine wave power inverter, and I've had this since since I first moved onto the property, and connected to a battery with these cables, and then I've got a couple of 110 outlets and a USB outlet on here as well, and this will allow me to power some stuff off of one of the deep cell batteries that I have in there. I have a couple of Optima batteries, and then I have a Deep Cycle Marine battery. That one is actually set up for the lighting and stuff inside the trailer. So I'm going to cook dinner in here tonight. I'm thinking chili dogs, right? Found a can of Nally's chili that I had inside the trailer, and then I picked up a couple of hot dogs today. I've got some onions. I've got some cheddar cheese to sprinkle on top of it. I picked up some rolls, picked up some paper plates so I don't have to do dishes in here. So basically I'm just running back and forth to the trailer now to pick up some stuff that I need for this evening, because I plan on spending the night in here tonight, which is Friday night, and then tomorrow night, which is Saturday night. I also had to pick up some propane. Refilled a couple of bottles today. One of the things that I'm doing in here this weekend is figure out what I'm going to need, because it's going to be a different living situation obviously than the trailer. What I'm going to need when I move in here, and it's nice that I actually have the trailer to be able to back that up with. So this morning I woke up, made myself some coffee, but I wasn't set up to cook anything in here really, other than, I mean, I probably could have done the chili dogs in here last night if I wanted to. So I went into the trailer, cooked up breakfast this morning, and then just did dishes and everything in there on top of the stove. I don't have a stove, and I don't have one set up yet for here. I'm still looking, but I'll get one relatively soon. I also need to basically move my bed from down here to up above. So this morning when I woke up, the downstairs temperature was about what it is right now, 57 degrees, which is what the temperature is on the table here. The upstairs temperature right now is 70 degrees. Be a lot more comfortable up there. I think the upstairs temperature dropped down to about 67 last night, which would be perfect. But before I can do that, I want to pick up some 3/4 inch plywood and replace all the OSB that I have up there. It's only 7/16. It's less than 1/2 inch. I want to replace all of that with 3/4 inch plywood for strength, so you won't have any squeaks and stuff in the floor when you're walking. So I need to do that, and I need to build the stairs going up. I still need to finish The lower part of the vapor barrier, I'm planning on doing that this weekend. And on top of all of that, I'm just going to enjoy the heck out of myself in here. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. I'm going to go into the house and get the battery and get some more pots and pans and stuff that I'm going to need out here. I don't want to bring everything into here though. I can take this whole table and I can move it over here to keep it out of the way when I'm working on the walls. But I think you could see really easily, just with a couple of things I brought in here for last night, that it's going to be pretty inconvenient to be living in here and working in here at the same time until I get these basic things done and out of the way. All right. There. The buns and the hot dogs. Always grab a couple of extra waters. So the inverter, super simple to use. Just remember, red goes to positive. Get over there. There we go. Black goes to negative. And this one's super cool because it has a power button. And when the voltage gets too low in that battery, an alarm actually goes off on here. So I'm ready to go with this. I don't want to mount this to a wall yet because eventually my inverters are all going to go underneath the staircase. But this will help me top some charges off in here while I'm out here working. It'll allow me, I can charge the batteries for the camera, and I can charge the bricks, the power bricks that I have, and I can actually run lights off of this as well if I want to. But the more I draw off of this is only about 50 amp hours on this battery, so it's pretty limited unless I'm using the really low micro voltage stuff, like charging the batteries for the camera and the power bricks. I can get quite a few charges on those. The biggest issue with being off grid is not creating power, because power is super easy to create, via generator, solar power, wind, whatever you want to do. The hardest thing is storing it, and that's also the most expensive part. I got this battery for free from Brother Will. It was a trade-in at a place that he works at, and he tested it and it was fine, so I went ahead and I picked it up. But where all the solar panels I would need for this place would cost me, say, $1,000, the battery storage that I would probably need to run this like your home, where you're going to watch TV and do all that stuff, would probably run me about 10 grand. So, I mean, for a 12-volt deep cycle battery, we're looking at $1,000 a battery for a lithium iron phosphate one. Anyway, I'm going to go get some more stuff. So it's a simple system. I've got it connected to the battery, and then I've got the USB plug coming out there to charge up that one power brick. That's the first one that I actually had on the property. That one takes a while to charge because it holds a great charge. But I'm gonna get dinner started. I think it's time for some chili dogs. Also, let's get this going. Little apple cinnamon. Try and get some of that musty smell out of here. This is a great little stove. Cooked a lot of meals on this thing. There we go. Chili dogs with cheese and onions. That's dinner tonight. That should be yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm going to turn that generator off and probably set up my ring light first, and then probably watch a movie while I have dinner. All right, let's get this finished. Take it up under this one to there. I'm looking at 91 inches. Well, 7.5 feet. So when I was done framing the inside, I put a nail up in here, and Ward said, okay, that's the only nail you're allowed, because what invariably happens is that when you're putting vapor barrier up, as you stretch it over any nails or metal obstructions that may be coming out or points of wood, it's going to break it and put a hole in it, and then you're going to have to tape that up and clean it up. Well, I only put one nail in it. The problem is I forgot to take the nail out. So there'll be tape on that section for sure. Ah, knucklehead. Knucklehead. All right, vapor barrier installed all the way around to the floor and on the front gable. Nice. So I still have some stapling off to do upstairs, and I got quite a bit of taping to do as well. But for the most part, the vapor barrier is 100% done. So tomorrow I'll run into town and I'll pick up 2x4 framing for the bathroom and the pantry. So I'll kind of calculate out what I need for that tonight. I'll look at 2x12s as well for the stairs to see if the orange store has long enough 2x12s to be able to pull that off, and good enough 2x12. So moving right along. All right, there are the bathroom and kitchen walls right there. 25 2x4x8 footers. I'll have to cut them down, but just right at $100 for 25 of them. Okay. 71 degrees up in the loft. It's about 28 degrees outside right now. I just went up and opened up the window up there, and then opened up the window down here so I can get some kind of current of air going through to pull as much moisture out as possible. And one of the big issues I have is, we discussed before how much moisture there was in here when I was building, because I didn't get the roof on. It just rained way too much water. So all that is coming out. The temperatures are going up, which means everything that was frozen is coming out. And then I'm running this propane heater, which the byproduct of burning propane is, one of the byproducts is water. So that kicks moisture into the air as well. It's about, oh shoot, what did I want to see? 63 or 64% humidity in here right now, which is a little on the high side, but it's going down every day. So I am going to grab the lumber for the walls. I'll probably turn the heater off, I would imagine. Yep. So I picked up 24 2x4x8 footers. My walls are actually only about 7 feet tall. 25 rather. And it's more than I need, but I don't want to have to make another trip, and they're only $3.75 a piece. So I'm going to get these stacked up. I'm going to have to slide this stuff this way because I'm going to build the walls here, stand them up, slide them in place, and nail them off. So I'm going to build them about 1/4 of an inch shorter than they actually need to be. So that way I don't have to worry about nailing them off, toenail and everything. I can just nail them off, nail them quick and easy with a nail gun out here and get that done. So that's the game plan. I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then I got to go edit some video.